Hello everyone, my name's Radio Mike, this is The Inside of My Mind, and I finally finished playing Luigi's Mansion 3, which is a great game for the Nintendo Switch that I was quite unfamiliar with going in, and I just wanted to talk all about it today. So as I said, I have never played any of the Luigi's Mansion games. There is one on the Nintendo Gamecube, which came out in like the early to mid 2000s, and it was followed up like almost a decade later with Luigi's Mansion Dark Moon on 3DS, which I did buy, and I reckon I played like maybe 20 minutes and just never got into it. So I was kind of cautious before picking up Luigi's Mansion 3 for the Switch, but I've finally finished it and I definitely don't regret buying it because it was a pretty good game. There are a few flaws in it, but overall I thought it was a really, really fun play, and I want to keep playing and trying to 100% it because I had a lot of fun with it. So essentially the premise of the game is you are Luigi, Mario's brother, the shyer, more afraid, more timid brother, which is quite fitting for a horror kind of game. I say horror with inverted commas because it's quite comical horror. Like, this game isn't actually very scary, but it's almost funny to watch Luigi and how he behaves and the way he gets so scared of the things that are happening in the haunted mansion that he is exploring. Mario, Peach, and a bunch of Toads have been kidnapped, and Luigi has to go through this haunted mansion in order to find them and rescue them. And this sort of takes him on 14 different floors of a hotel plus a 15th penthouse floor, exploring different themed rooms and levels, and defeating ghosts and bosses and exploring the areas and solving puzzles and all those different kinds of things. The main thing that I want to say about this game first up, it is so unique and totally different to any other game I've ever played. Like, I'm really into like platformers and those kinds of games where you're constantly moving fast and trying to get to the other places in the game like as quickly as possible, whereas Luigi's Mansion is a really slow paced game. Like, it's a really calm, slow adventure game where you're kind of taking your time and exploring everything that every room in the game has to offer. And I think that's sort of part of what makes it so good. Like, you're just exploring all these themed rooms and themed floors of this hotel mansion and just looking around, essentially. I found it really, really fun to just see how you could interact with everything and figure out the puzzles and solve them and defeating the ghosts and all of those kinds of things. You're equipped with the Poltergust, which is basically a ghost vacuum cleaner that can breathe in and blow out air. You also have a flashlight, a dark light reader, and you can burst, which is like jumping in the air. And you also have this other guy called Luigi, who is a goo version of Luigi who can like slip through bars and like things that the normal Luigi can't get through because he's made out of goo. The thing about all this is it's really fun to just go into a room and start vacuuming shit up. I just found it so fun to just always be vacuuming, seeing what can move, and pretty much everything in every move can be vacuumed or moved in some way. I forgot to mention, you also have like a plunger you can shoot and pull things out with. That's another tool in the Luigi's Mansion arsenal. And you often have to utilize all these different tools in order to solve the puzzles in the rooms. And some of these puzzles are actually to progress in the game, and some of them are just to find hidden gems and hidden kind of things like cash and money that you collect, and just little surprises and Easter eggs and puzzles that you have to solve by using all of the items to progress. And I really enjoyed that part of the game, the exploration part of the game. Luigi as a feature of the game, I didn't particularly enjoy, mainly because I always would just forget that I had him, and then I'd get stuck on a puzzle for so long and then be like, oh, I have Luigi, that's obviously how you solve this puzzle. And I don't know, I just didn't particularly enjoy using that feature of the game very often. That being said, I do like the idea of like doing co-op play with yourself, and that was kind of fun, but it was just like not always super apparent that you were supposed to use him. As I said before, each floor of the building acts as like its own level and it's themed to a particular thing. For example, there's like the gym of the hotel. One of the floors is a disco, like a nightclub. One of the floors is the shopping mall of the hotel. One of the floors is just a normal, like, lodging area of the hotel where people sleep. Then you go to the basement floor, which is the plumbing and the pipes. And each stage has its own unique boss and unique boss battle mechanics that suit that boss. And figuring out who the boss would be for each world and how they would play was also one of the most fun aspects. Just the character design in the boss ghosts in this game is really incredible. For example, there is one floor that is based on ancient Egypt, and the boss is basically like a mummy that uses sand to attack you, and the way you defeat her is by vacuuming up all the sand. Then there's one boss which I thought was one of the most memorable in the game, which was the gym boss, who was basically this gym junkie who was swimming in a pool, throwing volleyballs at you, and you basically had to drain the pool and throw the volleyballs back at him to hit him. Really unique stuff, but also some that I didn't really enjoy. For example, in the basement floor, you verse the mechanic of the hotel, and you ride in an inflatable rubber duck that has awful controls, and I just hated that boss battle so much. Everything about it sucked. I did not like it at all. Other floors include like a garden floor, a magic floor, a pirate themed floor, which had a shark boss that was really awesome. I really enjoyed the versatility of all these worlds within the hotel. That was a really strong point, and the music is really reflective of all these worlds as well. There's a cinema floor where you verse a filmmaker who's shooting a film, and you end up versing like a Godzilla style ghost while he shoots the film, which is awesome. A lot of these are really imaginative and fun, and I really enjoyed them. In terms of negatives, there's a bit here that did frustrate me a lot, the most of which are the parts where the game is so obviously padding. There are bits where you complete a floor and then essentially this cat ghost appears and you have to chase the cat ghost back in all of the rooms you just explored in that floor, and then it goes downstairs, and then you have to go down to another floor you've already done and chase the cat through that just to recover the elevator button that it's stolen to get back into the elevator. And I found this annoying every single time it happened. It happened twice in the game where you feel like you have momentum and you're having a lot of fun, and then now you have to go back and explore where you've just explored and do this exact same fight with the cat 3 times the 2 times it happens in the game equals 6 times you have to go and do this and pretty much backtrack on places you've already been. It's not that interesting. It's not that fun. Even Luigi as a character is visibly pissed off when this happened. He like looks at the camera and he's like, oh, nah, I gotta do this. And it like, that's exactly how I felt as a consumer of the game, which I think was a really bad decision on the developer's part to make you backtrack to do a pointless kind of thing, literally just to pad out the game by 2 extra hours. I thought was really pandering, and I hated doing it. It made me want to stop playing both times it happens, because I just wanted to go and see the next room and the next floor and its theme, and this really put a sour taste in my mouth. The other thing that I didn't particularly enjoy, but I got over it, was a lot of the boss battles, particularly the later boss battles. I didn't feel like it was ever particularly apparent what you had to do specifically to beat them. Often I felt like I was just dodging all their attacks and trying everything. Shining the flashlight, it wouldn't work. Vacuuming them, wouldn't work. Blowing air on them, wouldn't work. The dark light, wouldn't work. Like, I would just be doing pretty much trial and error and nothing seemed to work. And it was never very clear how you beat the bosses at first. And often I would just get to a point where I'd been dodging their attacks for like 10 minutes, making no progress. So I'd end up just looking up how to at least get the ball rolling on this boss battle on the internet, just so I could figure it out. And then it became a lot clearer what you had to do. But I don't really know how they could fix that. Like, it was definitely annoying because maybe I'm just a fucking idiot. I don't know, but I just couldn't figure out specifically how to beat some of these bosses. Some of them, as I said, 10 to 15 minutes of just dodging their attacks before I would just get frustrated. And I found that with a few of the puzzles as well. Like, some of the puzzles I'd just get stuck on for a long time. And I guess the point of this game is the puzzles, and it's supposed to make you think outside the box, and you're supposed to figure out what to do. And I can tell you that the dopamine hit you get when you solve a lot of these puzzles is really, really rewarding. But I feel like it becomes less rewarding when it's like a very specific combination of things you had to do that I don't think you could have, like, I couldn't have thought of that by myself. Like, and some moves in the game aren't used very frequently, so then when you do have to use them, you're like, oh, I haven't used that all game. Particularly the burst attack with the vacuum cleaner where you jump in the air. You don't really use that much in the overworld, but it ends up like being a thing in a lot of the boss battles that you don't even think of using because you haven't needed it anywhere else in the game pretty much. But those are just my thoughts. Overall, I really enjoyed it. Like, I had a great time with it. The way it sort of triggers your brain and makes you think and allows you to breathe and explore and take the time to have fun with this game and just see everything it has to offer, which is a lot. And like I said, I'm not 100% yet, and I do want to go back and just start exploring the earlier floors and solving some of the puzzles that they had to offer. I really, really liked it. And I definitely kind of want to go back and dig up my old 3DS and just start playing the second Luigi's Mansion on that and seeing if I can get into it a bit more. I think Luigi's Mansion 3 is a really good game for Switch, and I'd highly recommend it for anyone who just wants like a chilled out experience playing a game on their Switch that's pretty comical, not scary, but comically scary, and really does the best with Luigi's character. I think that's the last point I'd want to make about this game. Luigi as a character shines so much in this game because it's clearly a very deliberate decision to have Luigi as the front runner of this game. It probably would have sold more or could have sold more initially just being Mario's mansion, right? This game is made for Luigi. Like, it perfectly personifies him and allows him to totally shine as a character and showcase everything he has to offer as a character. And I'm glad that they gave the green brother of Mario a chance to have his own game. So what did you think of Luigi's Mansion 3? Let me know in the comments below. Subscribe to my channel. I've got a bunch of reviews. I do clips from my podcast, which is called 20th Century Boy. Go and give that a listen. I talk about games, movies, music, TV shows, other podcasts, my life working in radio, all those kinds of things. I'd love for you to check it out. And my band Release the Sounds, a comedy punk band, which I'd love for you to check out on Spotify as well. For now, give this video a thumbs up. Check out some of my other videos. Leave a comment, subscribe. I've said it all already. My name's Bit Radio Mike. This has been The Inside of My Mind. Catch you later. Bye-bye.